All right, so we've had some movement when it comes to the coaching carousel. I want to dig into it. Sam Pittman, Eli Drinkwitz, Lane Kiffin. Let's go after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. Not on a step. Now consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload video every single day. So it's college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today, I want to talk about Eli Drinkwitz, Sam Pittman, and Lane Kiffin, Joey Freshwater in the Grove. And let's start with that. Lane Kiffin being back in the SEC West is just outstanding because we're talking about a guy who got run out on a rail, need a police escort out of Tennessee after what he did in Knoxville. They haven't returned to glory since. Not that they were there. I mean, we got to go back all the way back to Phil Fulmer and Peyton Manning and T. Martin, where we can talk about Tennessee being anywhere near good. Even as Jeremy Pruitt seems to be headed in the right direction. Seems like they're going to get some things figured out over there. But with Joey Freshwater touching down in the Grove, we have one of the great pieces of sound I've ever heard about, right? So what had happened was he gets on the tarmac and he's greeted by a trove of Ole Miss fans, right? I mean, they're playing Quad City DJs in northern Mississippi, which is quite odd. I gotta tell you, it is like walking into a studio with Gucci Mane and Rick Ross and hearing Casey Musgrave. I'm for it. I just wouldn't know what to do with my hands if it happened. Now, when he was approached by one in particular who came with his newborn baby boy, handed it to Lane Kiffin took possession of the baby and it back because it's clear that dad just wanted Lane Kiffin to hold the baby so that he would be able to tell his baby boy, you were held by Lane Kiffin, thinking Lane Kiffin is going to do some really great things. And as he's taking the baby back from Lane Kiffin, he says, get yourself a burner phone, all right? Yo! I wasn't ready. I was not ready. I love college football in the South because this means so many different things, right? This can mean so many different things. First, it can mean, obviously, yo, man, we're going to need to be able to get a hold of you on the Bagman phone, and the Bagman phone cannot be tied to a state university employee. So let's get us a burner. Let's get on the Cricket plan. Let's get on the Verizon. Let's get on the Boost Mobile, and let's make it happen. All right, let's get ghetto and bootleg on this because it's going to be some moving and some shaking because this Ole Miss and this SEC West is South. This is how we got to roll. It could also mean, check it. So, back at Arkansas, and you see where I'm going with this. Back at Arkansas, before Sam Pittman, before Chad Morris, before Brett Bielema, before John L. Smith, before Bobby Petrino, there was Houston Nutt. And Houston Nutt is doing some pretty doggone nice things down there at Arkansas. Had things humming right along, moving as they were. When one poster found an email was sent by an Arkansas booster to Mitch Mustang back when he still played quarterback at Arkansas Razorbacks, denouncing him, calling him all kinds of slurs, homophobic slurs, just bad stuff to Mitch Mustang's Arkansas University email. Probably went straight to his spam folder. Probably never seen it or heard about it. And yet, this poster saw it, and he wanted to know if Houston Nutt knew about it because you'll know that Mitch Mustang decided to transfer just after that season to USC because things just weren't going how he wanted them to go. He grew up in Arkansas, ends up in Fayetteville, played Springdale with Gus Malzahn, just wasn't working out. So he goes. But this poster was incensed. He didn't know. He thought that this letter might have had something to do with it, and he wanted to know if Houston Nutt knew about it. And not being able to go and talk to Houston Nutt directly, he decided to file an open records request to the University of Arkansas. And what he got back was over 500 pages of documents looking at Houston Nutt's phone records. And what he finds is a bunch of exchanges to a local news anchor of the female persuasion. So in Arkansas, you got to know, if you're not from the Bible Belt, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, if you're not from here, Texas to a degree, we take our faith very seriously. And one of the things that we take seriously is things like adultery and divorce. So I say all that to say, it was kind of implied by some fans, rightly or wrongly. I think more wrongly than rightly, but my opinion doesn't really matter here. What matters is that enough people thought that there was something to these phone records that this Bama poster had uncovered in which Houston Nutt said nothing was happening. this news anchor said nothing's happened, talking about stories, and they were both part of a foundation that raised money, and they were friendly. But the heat got so turned up, the stove got so hot, that at the end of a pretty doggone season, Houston Nutt said, no more, no mas, I'm out of here. I can't do this. I can't. I mean, we're talking about defamation suits that Houston Nutt had to bring in. We're talking about lawyers with the poster and him just trying to chat it out and figure out what's going on because this dude was sweating. We had people showing up, like sending him letters saying stuff like, I hope you notice that your flower bed is dead. I know where you live. That kind of stuff. I'm like, yo. So Houston Nutt ends up at Ole Miss. Okay? And now we have a NCAA recruiting rule that says you can't oversign because Houston Nutt oversigned so many kids at Ole Miss. My God. He brought them all in. Everybody. You got an offer. You got an offer. You get a commitment. You get a commitment. They were all coming to Ole Miss. So we had to have this rule where you can't oversign because of Houston Nutt. Okay? Houston Nutt run out of there and doesn't really like it. He's doing outstanding work at CBS right now. I think he would be great if he gets back into coaching. We'll have to wait and see. But say all that to say, Houston Nutt was also the reason later on that Hugh Freeze ended up getting up off the blacktop out there at Oxford. Why? Because Houston Nutt, who by the way is the head coach at a Christian university, Liberty University, Jerry Falwell's university right now, had been calling escort services, had him on his phone. Houston Nutt kind of knew about this, kind of put it out there because he's also trying to get back at Ole Miss, so we think. And what do we get? But Houston Nutt let people know, Hugh Freeze, you up out the blacktop because we don't mess with the escort services in northern Mississippi, any part of Mississippi, honestly, because again, Bible Belt, right? He gets the ouster. And it's been pretty bad ever since, right? Matt Luke is now standing coach. He got fired because a player took a piss like a dog in the Egg Bowl in a game that they lost, and a game that they probably could have won if he hadn't taken a fake piss, and they would have been able to go for two from the two. Instead, they got forced back, and the kicker wide left with the kick. Mississippi State not only wins the Egg Bowl, they get bowl eligible out of that win. Yeesh. So Matt Luke ends up losing his job. Matt Luke is now the head coach at Georgia. Head coach. RJ, what did you just say? Matt Luke is now the offensive line coach at Georgia. Goodness me. I'm not trying to get Kirby Smart up out of there, I promise. Momentary slip. I was going with head coach at Florida Atlantic now, gets a phone call. His name's Lane Kiffin. That's how we started here, right? And he's in the running for Arkansas job, in the running for this Ole Miss job. Ole Miss decided to make him an offer. The Godfather can't refuse, ends up in Oxford. Now, this is awesome because with Lane Kiffin's baggage, even as he has reinvented himself, he's become a much more mature human being. He understands what it means to coach a football team, and I expect he can compete and win in the SEC West. And if he does, nobody's going to keep him out of college football playoff. That's a really good job to have. It's sneaky good because Alabama is slipping, so we think. LSU is peak, but that's just them. Auburn, you got to be. If you come out of the SEC West, you can come out of college football, right? So this is also interesting because if you know all the stuff that I just said about Houston Nutt, there's also more stuff about Lane Kiffin, who held a fake press conference at USC with his SID at a desk, did all the wrong things, got fired, not on the tarmac, but at LAX after losing to Arizona State by Pat Hayden, sent packing. Goes to the BAMO Rehabilitation Clinic for Coaches, otherwise known as Alabama Football. Works under Nick Saban, moves up to offensive coordinator, wins the national championship, takes a job at Florida Atlantic, turns that into a Conference USA power with Riff Raff, a.k.a. OU washout Chris Robinson. They just destroyed UAB in a conference title game, 49-6. All right, so if you know about Lane Kiffin at Oakland, you know about Lane Kiffin at Tennessee, you know his dad is Monty, there's all kinds of stuff here. And now you get to hear Dan Wetzel with the best analogy for the Ole Miss Lane Kiffin marriage I've ever heard now.
At this point, Lane Kiffin is like an aging stripper, okay? And Ole Miss is like a thrice divorced middle-aged dude who went to Vegas. And they met each other and have now made their relationship official in front of an Elvis-clad nuptials. Okay? I mean, Ole Miss has had its last two coaches fired because a guy took a fake dog pee. And another one had escort services on his phone number, on his phone numbers on his phone. So then word gets back to both sides, families, like, oh yeah. And you go, well, this might actually work with these two. This might be exactly what each one needs. They're beaten up, broken down. Like, what else was Ole Miss going to do? Hire an offensive line coach from Georgia and go nowhere? They've tried that. If your Ole Miss has the potential to be good, Hugh Freeze got them good. And at this point, you're like, I'm swinging for the fences. I don't care. Yes, I've been married 3 times. I should probably settle down, marry that, one of my third kid from my second wife's, kindergarten teacher seems nice. She's a widower. No, he's like, screw it. I'm going big time. Entertainer, cinnamon. Let's go. And that's what Ole Miss should be doing.
That's the greatest analogy in podcast history. Right there.
Yo, I don't know what was better. Wetzel's analogy or Pat Forty not being able to hold it together. That was outstanding. That was awesome. But it wasn't as awesome. No, it was. It was more awesome. But this is the second most awesome thing that I've seen on the internet so far about these coaching hires. Because Eli Drinkwitz, who was the offensive coordinator at NC State, ends up becoming the head coach at Appalachian State last year after Scott Satterfield took the job at Louisville. And I think they're going to be pretty good. He's got an opportunity over there. They could be really good with that, really eccentric run game that they have out there. But they could be good. Point is, Eli Drinkwitz takes over that squad, goes 12-1. One loss, Georgia Southern. Beat North Carolina, beat South Carolina. Gets into the Sun Belt Championship, beats Louisiana, holds trophy. First team in Sun Belt history to win 12 games. Okay? Immediately takes the job in Missouri, the one where Barry Odom got fired. And now we get this bit of sound from his opening press conference.
We must point our passion in the right way, and we're going to unify our purpose. Our purpose is to win, make no mistake about it, but it's to win the right way. And our goal, our stated goal, is going to be to win the to win the SEC East.
I think you got it right. Mizzou ought to try to win the Sun Belt there, Eli. That's Mizzou. You're not winning the SEC East. That's Florida. That's Georgia. Mostly Georgia, more than Florida. And then there's Kentucky, who I think is in a better spot than you. But we'll see. You got an opportunity here. Also, shout out to Eli Drinkwitz, who is a Norman, Oklahoma native. Coached high school football in Arkansas. Also was quality control assistant with Malzahn on that 2010 Auburn national championship team. Eli is going to be pretty good. But I thought that sound was awesome. But the most awesome thing to come out of all of this, the best part of this, is Sam Pittman right here, right now, at his opening press conference in Fayetteville as the new head coach for the Arkansas Razorbacks.
As you can tell, this means a lot,
Sam Pittman now. And Arkansas deserves this. They have been the butt of so many jokes. I've told them. They now have a guy that wants the job. He wants to be there. And more than that, he's an elite recruiter. He's going to get him in there. He's going to get the burner phone. I'm making a joke there. But you're going to be good. And while I think that you could end up like Memphis in basketball, that's fine. That's okay. We don't care. You'll win games. And he hired Hot Sauce as his offensive line coach. Brad Davis is the offensive line coach, was the offensive line coach at Missouri. Folks who are deep into their OU history books would know Brad Davis was a member of that 2000 national championship team. He was also on that Rose Bowl team in 2003, and he was voted the most outstanding offensive player on the he was voted the most outstanding offensive lineman on that 2002 team. So Hot Sauce knows what he's doing, and he gets to recruit the boot again. He's from Baton Rouge. I don't know if y'all remember that or not. This is all cool. I think that slowly but surely, Sam is going to build a coaching staff that can go and recruit and win. It's difficult to do at Arkansas because you gotta change minds. And you're going up against Ed Orgeron and Nick Saban, now Lane Kiffin, Joe Moorhead. Man, it's about to get rough for you over there in Starkville. I don't know what you're going to do. To say nothing of Oklahoma goes wherever it wants to go and recruits. You know what I'm saying? Texas, same thing, because you're going to have to go down there to Texas, try to get some recruits that really going to be arguing right now between Arkansas and like Southern Methodist, who just came off of the best season that they've had since like 1984. Okay? And Reggie Robertson's coming back. I still think that this is the best thing that could have happened for Georgia. I think this is a sneaky, awesome hire, and I'm so excited. I want Arkansas to be good. I'm with you, Razorbacks. I want you to be good. I want you to compete. And this has been so much fun. Deuces.